I recently did Duolingo for 20 hours in just 1 week, and I realized something that completely changed the way I think about the app. I'd been using it wrong. And honestly, I think most people are too. If you're new here, hi, I'm Nick. I speak 4 languages, and I'm currently working on my 5th. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to actually get the most out of Duolingo. Not by grinding endless lessons, not by hoping the app magically makes you fluent, but by using it for what it's truly good at. Avoiding the traps that waste your time and knowing exactly when to move on. Because here's the truth. Duolingo can be a powerful tool if you use it right, but it can also be one of the fastest way to burn out if you don't. A lot of people open Duolingo with one big expectation. This app is going to make me fluent. You know the image, that glowing green owl cheering you on as you magically progress from beginner to fluent in a few months. But here's the reality, if Duolingo's the only tool you use, you're going to be disappointed. That doesn't mean it's worthless, far from it. It just means that you need to set a goal that actually matches what the app is designed to do. And here's the secret. Duolingo is best at helping you get started. When I use Duolingo, my goal isn't fluency. My goal is much smaller and more realistic. I want to learn the basic sentence structure of the language and around 250 core words. Why 250? Because with just that much, you can start doing something powerful. Reading simple things in your target language. For me, that's manga or comics. For you, it might be simple articles, short dialogues, or subtitles. But the point is, 250 words is enough to break out of the absolute beginner trap. Think about it. If you know how sentences are put together, and you know just a couple hundred words, you can already understand the gist of a conversation. You can start experimenting with your own sentences, and you can connect what you're learning to the real world. That's when the fun begins. So if you go into Duolingo thinking, this is my launchpad, not my destination, the whole app suddenly makes a lot more sense. Now let's talk about the problems with Duolingo, because let's be honest, there are plenty. Problem number 1, it moves too slowly. If you follow Duolingo exactly the way it wants you to, you'll spend weeks grinding through categories that you don't really need yet. I remember spending hours learning how the numbers work, and that is eventually going to be useful, sure, but guess what? It's not useful knowing how to say 345,000 as part of your first 150 words. What works better is this. In each category, just do the first few lessons. That's enough to see the main pattern and learn the most important words. Then, move on. Don't let the app drag you through endless repetition of content you don't care about. When I was doing my Ukrainian challenge, I followed this method. I'd finish one category in each section, and then I would skip over to the next section. I'd already learned all the words that section was going to teach me, and I had a good enough grasp on how it worked that Duolingo, more often than not, let me skip to the next section on my first try of the test. Sometimes without even making a single mistake. Problem number 2 is the vocabulary is so random. Duolingo often gives you words that are either too specific or not actually useful early on. I got words like apple and milk before I learned words like because or with. That's backwards. The truth is, the structural words, the connectors, the little pieces of grammar, the verbs you use constantly, those are the ones that unlock the language. I was also taught really niche specific words to Ukrainian that I didn't even know what were in English. And those are not the words that you should be learning early on. So here's what I recommend. Don't count on Duolingo to give you the vocabulary you actually need. Treat it like a sampler, learn the words, and then add the words that fit your real life. For example, when I started Portuguese, Duolingo gave me random words about animals and food, but what I actually needed were words I'd use to hold conversations online, as that was right around the time that I found Tandem. It would have been great if the app worked better together with other apps like this. If you want something other than an app to talk to people, I have 2 options for you. Both are listed down in the description. Number 1 is a free school community that I hope to fill with language learners, and the second is that I built the Fluent Habits workbook for people that need something light and easy that they can do to make easy progress. It's free and it gives you 30 days of simple tasks that keep you moving forward, even when Duolingo feels repetitive. If you want to grab it, the link is in the description. It's basically a safety net to make sure you keep learning even when Duolingo feels like a grind. Now let's talk about the money side, because a lot of people wonder if Super Duolingo is worth paying for. If you're on the free version, you've probably seen these offers for a free week of Super Duolingo. My advice is that you take it, but plan to go hard during that week. During my challenge, I managed to cover everything I needed in about 20 hours. That's just under 3 hours a day for a week. If you use that free week smartly, you can power through the beginner levels, get the sentence patterns down, and avoid paying for months of subscription. Just be careful that you don't burn yourself out while doing this. At most, I'd recommend paying for 1 extra month after the free trial if you want a bit more free time. But honestly, anything beyond that isn't worth it. By that point, you should be transitioning into better methods. Now, let's talk about challenges in Duolingo. They look fun. Leagues, leaderboards, little trophies, and for some people, that's motivating. But in terms of actual learning, most of them don't give you much. The one exception I recommend is the word matching challenge on the phone app. It forces you to recall words quickly, which is great for review. The rest, they're mostly there to keep you in the app, not to make you fluent. Don't feel guilty about skipping them. If you're learning a language with a new alphabet, here's where I'll give Duolingo some real credit. Their alphabet training is actually really good. When I was learning Ukrainian, I went through Duolingo's alphabet section, and within a couple of days I could already read simple words. Yes, I mixed up a few letters that looked like English ones, but overall it worked. I've also looked at their Greek and Japanese options, and for Greek it's pretty straightforward. It works the same way as the Ukrainian one does, but for Japanese it's obviously more complex because of hiragana, katakana and kanji. But the fact that they give you a structured starting point is valuable. If you've ever looked at a new alphabet and felt intimidated, Duolingo actually lowers that barrier, and once you can read, the whole language feels less scary. Now let's talk about nouns, because Duolingo loves to throw nouns at you early on. Apple, dog, table, house, sure they're useful words, but here's the thing. Nouns are the least efficient words to learn at the beginning. Why? Because they're specific to topics. You need hundreds of them to cover everyday life. What's way more useful at the start are verbs, adjectives, and connecting words. Those let you say something about anything. Think about it. If you know the word to eat plus good and bad, you can already describe dozens of meals. Add because, and suddenly you're explaining opinions. That's powerful. So don't worry if you don't know the word for giraffe in your first month. Focus on the words that let you express ideas across topics. The nouns will come naturally later. Here's the real danger with Duolingo. It can trick you into thinking you're learning when you're actually not. It feels good to see the streak number go up. It feels good to get the little sound effect when you finish a lesson. But if that's all you're doing, you're not actually getting closer to fluency. This is why I recommend always pairing Duolingo with something else. That might be the workbook I mentioned earlier, or it could be watching a short video in your target language every night, or reading a simple text with a dictionary. The point is, Duolingo should never be your entire routine. It's the spark, not the fire. So here's the truth. Duolingo is not your one-stop shop for fluency, but if you use it as a launchpad for 250 words, for sentence patterns, and for alphabet basics, it's actually a fantastic starting point. And once you're ready to go beyond Duolingo, the next step is knowing what to read. Because reading is where your vocabulary really takes off, and it's where the language starts to come alive. I made a video showing exactly which books to start with in a new language. and that's the perfect next step after Duolingo. And you can watch it right here.